What's the amount?
Well, it's over 50 million, and Joni Ernst, Senator from Iowa, is a true hero of taxpayers. She got the Inspector General to do this study, and we found that the IRS has been given now almost $80 billion more money, no reform, no taxpayer protections, and the single vote that gave them all that lovely money was Kamala Harris. This is going to be a presidential issue. The IRS agents are not paying their own taxes, some 500 of them with massive problems, including not paying taxes, but other things as well, were fired. You go, oh, good. They were brought back. Okay, you can get even fired. It's tough to get fired, but when you get fired, they still bring you back at the IRS. This is an agency that's run amok and needs not more money, but it needs some internal discipline and more people getting fired permanently.
Let's show the numbers. So this is a presidential race issue because you're saying Senator Kamala Harris was the vote that broke the tie, I guess, or whatever it was, to get more IRS audits and get that more money to the IRS. So this recent audit by the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration finds nearly 6,000 IRS workers and IRS contractors owe close to $50 million in overdue taxes. Nearly 150,000 government workers overall owe $1.5 billion. Talk to us more about Senator Harris's involvement in more IRS audits.
Well, she, as vice president, there was a 50-50 split in the Senate, and she voted yes. We are going to have more money for the IRS to hire more people with no reforms at all. This is one of the stories that the Inspector General has found out. The IRS has been destroying documents. The IRS has thousands of weapons. And most of the time when the weapons go off, it's by mistake, okay? The people who are supposed to take weapons training don't. Each of these reports comes out, and the government and the IRS ignores what the American people can read is wrong with the IRS. And Kamala Harris says, you know what, they need more money.
Okay, so they get more money to hire tens of thousands more IRS auditors and agents, right? So that is, Senator Joni Ernst is saying they're going to audit. She's saying more hardworking, working class and middle class Americans, more audits there. And she's saying the irony is that Americans are paying these IRS workers paychecks while they're evading taxes.
Yes, that is outrageous. And if it wasn't Washington, D.C., you wouldn't believe it's possible. But it is possible, and it is happening, and Kamala Harris doesn't care.
Would like to know just how many tax cheats are employed by the federal government, like, for example, at the IRS. Well, U.S. Senator Joni Ernst finally got an answer. She inserted language in legislation mandating the tax cheat audit of the federal payrolls. And now, apparently, it's completed. The findings are quite stunning. Joining us now with all the details is the CEO and founder of OpenTheBooks.com, Adam Andrzejewski. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So, just how many people working for the IRS are tax cheats, and how much money do they owe?
Well, it's pretty stunning, Angela. The number is actually 5,800 people getting paychecks from the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, are tax cheaters. This is the tax collection agency. So here's how it breaks down. There's 3,300 employees, direct employees of the IRS that are tax cheats. They're behind on their taxes, or they don't even file a tax return. And then there's an additional 2,500 employees of contractors. These are firms contracted to do tax collection work by the IRS. They're behind on it. All told, you got nearly 6,000 employees of the IRS. They owe $50 million to the American taxpayer. And here's the dirty little secret. The IRS can fire these people. It's in the law. If you're a tax cheat working for the tax collection agency, you can get fired. But only 20 of them have been fired.
So if they can get fired and if that's not happening, what is the IRS doing about these tax cheats?
Well, not a lot. I mean, tax evasion can be a serious crime. You could be hit with penalties and fines and even imprisonment. But this audit showed that the time spent on federal bureaucrats not paying their taxes by the IRS is actually minimal. So you got 6,000 of these people. Here's how the numbers break down. You got 5,000 of them that are not even on a payment plan. And out of the 6,000, there's $50 million owed to the American taxpayer. There's only about 1,000 of them that have contracted with the IRS to actually pay their back taxes. So there's just not enough being done here. I mean, think about it, Angela. You got these people working for the tax collection agency. They're paid by taxpayers, and they're ripping off the tax collection agency and the American people, the taxpayer, who are paying their salaries.
Was this just the tip of the iceberg? What did the audit reveal about some other troubling hires at the IRS?
Well, the IRS has real problems on their hiring because this audit revealed that nearly 500 former employees of the IRS were actually hired back after it was discovered they had real problems like fighting and assault charges or sexual conduct problems or criminal misconduct. And nearly 300 of them have had repeat offenses, and they were still hired by the IRS.
Now, you have advocated for actually auditing the IRS, specifically the IRS gun locker. Many people really don't know that the IRS owns thousands of guns, weapons here. You know, what is the status of that audit?
Yeah, so it passed the House last year. The Senate never took it up. So the last audit of the IRS gun locker was actually 2019. From 2006 to the present, 2023, our auditors at OpenTheBooks.com have identified the IRS has purchased $36 million worth of guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment. Many people don't realize the IRS actually owns submachine guns, 600 long-barrel rifles, 600 shotguns. They spent $10 million on guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment during the pandemic. We need that audit.
And very quickly, this last question, if we can get to the IRS, of course, we talked about tax cheats. What about the entire federal bureaucracy? What are you seeing?
Yeah, this audit revealed, incredibly, there's 150,000 tax cheats. These are federal bureaucrats employed in the federal agencies that are not paying their taxes. The audit said they owe $1.5 billion. I think the first order of business on a bipartisan basis is to either fire these people or get paid. The American taxpayer deserves no less.